Hey y'all, so I want to talk to y'all about the importance of working with your benevolent ancestors. And this is just my opinion. So I'm not saying this is one size fits all or this is the golden rule. I'm just speaking from my experience and what works for me. And hopefully it could be of advice to whoever this video is for. So what I've noticed is that when we talk about ancestors on TikTok, because that's the only place where I really see the conversation happening, we just talk about ancestors in general. But I think what's missing from the conversation is understanding the difference between your benevolent ancestors and your ancestors that are just your general ancestors. So, for example, I would say general ancestors would be those who you are descendants of or those that are your loved ones that have passed on. And the benevolent ancestors is what I would consider those ancestors that have ascended into a higher vibration. And those are the ones that I suggest people working with when they start out, because most of these benevolent ancestors can be your guides. They may also be guardians for you, and a lot of times when it comes to the benevolent ancestors, they've done the work necessary to ascend and get to a higher vibration. So their intentions with you are for what is in your best interest. And so when you're doing work, especially work that has to do with your healing or getting advice on a situation, it's best to work with them because they will speak from a place of what is in alignment and what is best for you. This also it brings to my memory, I can't remember who it was or how I received the story, but I remember there was this girl and she was we were talking about ancestors, and she was basically saying, she's tired of working with her ancestors because basically, they keep leading her to like bad lovers. And my first thought was like, what kind of ancestors are you working with, right? And so that continues the conversation of what I was saying of, if you aren't working with your ascended ancestors or benevolent ancestors, you may come in contact with ancestors that are still on their own journey to ascension or are doing work in the afterlife after they have passed. So when an ancestor has passed, it doesn't mean that they have completely ascended yet. A lot of times there are still work that they have to do in the ancestral plane in order to even get to that level, right? So for example, if you are dealing with, I'm trying to think of an example. If you're dealing with an unhealthy relationship, right? And you choose to get perspective from an ancestor that has been on a cycle of unhealthy relationships. And because of that pattern within their lifetime, they suggest that you go back to that partner when that's not healthy for you. And because you've consulted with them, it may pull on your own trauma and you take it as guidance because it's from an ancestor. So now you go back to that situation. That for me is an example of kind of what the girl said. She said, well, they keep leading her to like lovers that are not good for her. And my thought was, not only who are you working with, but what work are you doing on yourself? This has become a whole rant now, but I just want to stress that if you decide to work with your ancestors, please consider working with your benevolent/ascended ancestors if you choose to do the work regarding healing. If you do work with your ancestors that are still doing the work, and, I say honor them, right? I say no matter what, honor those ancestors. But if you're going to do the work with all of your ancestors, just be considerate of they're also still doing the work like me and you in this earth. Not in this earth, in their plane. So just like us doing the work, they're doing the work on whatever that looks like for them. So I wouldn't suggest, if you continue to work with them, to work with a ancestor that is dealing with the same issue that you're dealing with, because that is kind of like, it's ineffective. Maybe if it comes to something like that, for example, if grandma knew how to cook and you need to channel her to cook a good meal, that's cool too. Maybe not doing deep work when it comes to that. So I hope this was beneficial. This was a little long-winded, but let me know if y'all have any questions. And I hope this helped anybody who is on their journey to working with their ancestors.